Mozilla Firefox, its engine is Gecko. Edge started with an engine called Chakra. Very recently, just 1-2 months back, they changed the browser engine of Edge from Chakra to Chromium. Chromium is the engine used by browser called Edge. What is problem here is every browser have different engine. Generally, majority, several programming languages, several softwares that you use, like Java, .NET and all, Java, .NET, PHP, Python, all these have common engines. Engine will be same across any platform. So due to that, across any platform, they work similar. But if engines are different, then they will not have same behavior everywhere. Different browsers, different behaviors. Different browsers, different appearance. That is the reason one of main problem for web developer is when we write logic, we have to write according to browsers. If you miss the browser, compatibility issues will come. That means you expect in one way, it works in another way. So this is a common problem in web development. As a web developer, you must know that entire web development depends on browser. And web developers need to concentrate much on browsers. For example, just basic I will show you. Previously, we created a project and that was full stack web application, full stack UI project. In this, I already showed you, see, suppose I am using a simple option, upload photo. For upload photo, I am writing some code. Don't worry what I am writing, just observe the concept. I am opening this on a browser called Edge. On Edge browser, it looks like this. On Edge browser, it looks like this. Choose file, no file chosen. I will copy this and I will open. See, it is working fine. Choose file. I can select any file and click open. That file will open. Means that file will attach here. Now, for example, I am opening, I will copy this. Current my browser is Edge. I will go to another browser, some Internet Explorer. So this is Internet Explorer browser. This is Internet Explorer browser. In this browser, I will copy the same. In this browser, I will copy the same. I will try to open the same. Here it looks different. It says that upload photo and browse button. And in Edge browser, it says choose file. But functionality is same. I click browse, it will open. I will select a file, that file will come here. But appearance changes. Not only appearance, sometimes functionality also changes. Functionality also changes. For example, suppose I said here age. I said age. And I asked to input number. And you see in Edge browser, so I can select up down number age. A numeric up down will come. When I go to Internet Explorer, same page in Internet Explorer, up down is not there. You can see there is no up down here. That means there is no up down here. Now I have to type only directly number here. That means web designing issue is browser dependency. And who is reason for that? Browser engines. Every browser have its own engine, then a lot of issues will come. So what we have to learn as web designer? So as web designer, we have to learn designing of websites in such a way that across any browser, they work similar. because we cannot force users to use specific browser. In that case, we have to ask users that better use this browser. If they are not interested in using those browsers, then we have to design so that in such a way that it can run everywhere same. So who is responsible for translating everything to browser? That responsibility is taken by a browser engine. Now, how HTML works? What is the basic concept of HTML? See, generally, what is the basic architecture? Actually, we write HTML. In HTML, we design the pages in HTML. Suppose in HTML, I am writing like this, P and welcome /P. Generally, we write like this in HTML. What are those? I will tell you. No need to worry about that. Generally, in HTML, we mark up like this. I told you in the last session, HTML is a markup language. We mark up information by using such elements. Here, see, when you write this, what happens is, first, these are converted into binary form. These are converted into binary form. Whatever logic you have written, angle bracket, P, angle bracket, close, welcome, P /, everything is converted into binary form. That means it is converted into bytecode. It is converted into bytecode, binary form. From the binary form, this information is translated into, from binary form, it is converted into characters. Characters, when it is converted into characters, that means it will be in this way. So angle brace and P, again angle brace close, like this. It will be converted into characters. It is converted into separate characters. Every character is individually converted. That means it converts everything into characters. Greater than symbol, less than symbol, P, all these are converted into characters. That means these bytes are converted into chars. They are converted into characters. After converting into characters, these characters are configured into, we call these as, this P is converted into P like this. These are called tokens. We call them as tokens. That means paragraph P is a token. We call it as token. The characters are combined and designed as a token. Some characters are combined and designed as token. We call the mechanism called tokenization. We call this as tokenization. That means these characters are converted into tokens. After converting into tokens, next what happens is, after converting into tokens, these tokens are converted into nodes. These tokens are converted into nodes. The tokens are converted into nodes. Node means parent and child nodes. That means we have P. Actually, P indicates paragraph. Suppose P indicates a paragraph. Now these tokens are converted into nodes. Nodes means, generally what happens is, suppose we have a body. In the body, we have a paragraph. So body is the parent node. In the parent node, paragraph is the child node. It will arrange everything into nodes. And these nodes are taken and these nodes are arranged. These nodes are arranged in a hierarchical order. these nodes are arranged in a hierarchical order. That means parent and child hierarchy order. For example, so we have a body, and inside the body, we have some paragraph and we have some image. Like this, it will arrange. These are called, these nodes. Actually, these nodes are called elements. We call these nodes as elements. These elements are arranged in an hierarchical order. This hierarchical order is called as DOM. DOM, that means document object model. If anyone asks you what is the purpose of HTML, then the purpose of HTML is presenting DOM officially. You people, while learning here and there HTML, may have several definitions. Those are all rubbish. We don't care about your definitions, whatever you give from your websites, YouTube channels, nonsense that is. Keep those definitions with you only. Don't ever tell them to interviewer. He will laugh at your definitions. Because when you ask what is HTML, people say HTML is collection of tags. There is no tag at all in the context, right? That is what generally you hear from everybody who knows little bit school level HTML. People who learns HTML in school, colleges, they come with this brain that HTML is collection of tags. Then you can understand that is an unmatured web developer, right? So a professional web developer knows that HTML is not collection of tags. HTML is a collection of elements. Elements are arranged in a hierarchy. What is that hierarchy? Elements are arranged in a hierarchical order. That hierarchical order is what? DOM. That means HTML is all about presenting DOM. For example, you opened some website, some Google, and you see right click. I want to know how it is presented. Right click on this browser and select inspect. When you select inspect, you can see that it shows you all elements. It says elements. And these are all elements. These are not tags. Don't say them as tags. Before they form into elements, they are presented in tokens. Those tokens are called as tags. People call these tokens as tags. Tokens are tags. From tokens, they are converted into elements. Elements are arranged in an order. There is a certain hierarchical order. That means observe carefully here. I am not writing any order here. I just written age. I just written input type number. I haven't written anything else. But observe carefully, when I open this in browser, automatically browser is going to arrange everything in an order. You can see browser arranges everything in an order. I haven't written HTML, head, body or anything. It will keep everything in order. That means it keeps everything in order. And see, body is a root. In that root, you have a child called input. That means it is arranged in an hierarchical order. That hierarchical order is called as what? We call this hierarchical order as DOM, document object model. Document object model. Now, what browser engine will do is, browser engine will take this DOM. That means it is responsible for doing all this conversion. After taking this DOM, it will arrange into a layout. DOM is converted into a layout because parent-child hierarchy, everything is designed in a layout. After converting into layout, what happens is this layout is presented on your browser. We call that as painting. That layout is presented on your browser called painting. That means after arranging everything in order, it has to paint that on your screen. That means finally, I written like this. For example, I written input type number. This is painted into this. It is painted as a box with numeric up down. The final output, whatever you are watching in browser, it is the result of a mechanism called painting. That means browser uses a mechanism called painting. By using that painting mechanism, it is going to present everything. You can see it, but later detailedly I will explain. As of now, observe here, right click and select inspect. And when you go to this inspect, you see there is elements, there is console, there is sources, there is network, so many categories are there. In these categories, you have so many categories here. In these categories, you can go to various categories. Here we have performance. This is performance. Performance is used for identifying how much time it is taking, processing and everything. For example, I will start recording here. I will refresh the page here. After refreshing the page, you see it says it is profiling. It is recording everything. After profiling for few seconds, I will stop and it will load that information here. It is loading and you see the process. You see the process. In the process, there is an option called painting. In the process, you can see there is scripting. After scripting, rendering. Rendering means generating output. In computer technologies, rendering means generating output. Rendering is the process of generating output. After generating output, that output must be presented. That means it has to paint that output. And there will be a mechanism called paint. That means whatever result you are watching on screen is the result of painting. This is architecturally. Even people who are working on HTML, they don't know this hierarchy. So many people, they don't know this hierarchy. That's the reason at experience level, they can fail interviews. Because at experience level, people ask like, I want to fake 2-3 years experience and go to company. If you are faking your experience, remember one point. Interviews questions will be two types. Concept oriented, architecture oriented. If you are a fresher, concept oriented questions will come. If you are experienced, architecture oriented questions will come. That is simple, straightforward. That means there is nothing like for experienced people, they will ask in depth about concept. They will never ask about concept. They will ask about architecture. That means for fresher, they will ask what is it? And for experienced person, they will ask explain architecture behind it. That's so simple. That means a fresher should know just what it is and an expert should know how it works. That is what interviews are targeted for experienced people. That means for a fresher, they will ask what is DOM, so that they want to know whether you know minimum about DOM or not. Now for experienced people, they ask explain the hierarchy of DOM. That means they will ask how DOM is generated. Tell me the process. For fresher, it is too much because at fresher level, you can't expect people asking you about browser engines, right? That is too much about fresher, means to ask for fresher. So for freshers, what is DOM is okay. What is DOM? What you understood now? What is DOM? Not definition. DOM is document object model. What is DOM? What you understood by the meaning of DOM? By seeing this, what do you say? Can you tell what is DOM now? What is DOM? DOM is an hierarchical order of presenting elements. HTML presents everything in a hierarchy. That hierarchy is called as DOM. So DOM is hierarchical order of presenting elements. HTML is collection of elements. Elements have a specific order. That order is called as DOM. Later you will learn about the DOM. Don't worry. Detailedly we will discuss about that. Actually, the DOM usually looks like this. This is the HTML DOM. That is HTML DOM. So many are there inside it, which you are going to learn in later stages. We will discuss about this DOM detailedly later. This is how HTML presents everything. HTML presents everything. So this is called DOM. We call this as document object model. So this DOM is present. So let's take the order here. Simple, straightforward steps. I will upload this diagram onto the classroom notes. So basic flow, what you understood now. First we write some markup. This markup is translated into which form? Bytes. These bytes are converted into characters. These characters, everything is done by browser engine. Everything, whatever I showed, it will happen in browser engine. Scripted language. Who told you? You invented. Don't get to a conclusion without having a common knowledge about it. Don't give a definition as if you designed it. Right? If you know, you talk about it. Otherwise, just listen to it. Listen to me. If you are not aware of it, then you will get conclusion. You are here to learn about it detailedly. So don't get excited into points, right? If you follow me for a few days, you will understand what it is correctly. That's what I said, that keep your school knowledge in school only. W3 schools knowledge in W3 schools. That is only W3 schools people, that is. Don't bring W schools HTML knowledge to our class. Our class is not school level class, right? Because your definitions you keep with you until I explain about them, you will get clarity. Okay. Those are all school, college level definitions, keep with you, right? We will professionally discuss about them, right? HTML is not a scripting language. First, you should know about that basic thing, right? So markup is converted into bytes. Bytes are converted into characters. These characters are converted into actually tokens. Am I right? These characters are converted into tokens. These tokens we call as tags. These tags are converted into nodes. These nodes are arranged in a hierarchy called DOM, right? These are arranged in a hierarchy called DOM, right? Yes. These are arranged in a hierarchy called DOM. After DOM, so this undergoes a process called layout. This undergoes a process called layout. Layout is arranging everything in order. After layout is finished, then it undergoes rendering. Rendering is making it ready for generating output. Rendering. After rendering, it will go with the painting. This painting is the final stage. After painting is finished, you will see the final output on the screen. Every website have to undergo these phases. Initially, markup looks like this. Markup looks like this. Markup looks like this. After this, it is converted into binary form. Binary form. After this, this is converted into characters. After this, it is converted into tokens. After this, it is converted into node. P is a node. P is actually paragraph. 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 It is converted into node. After that, it is arranged into a hierarchy. Hierarchy means body. Body contains paragraph, right? After this, it comprises of a layout. And after layout is nothing but it is arranging everything in an order called DOM. After DOM, so then the process of rendering will happen. Rendering is nothing but generating output, and painting output. Painting output. This is the stage. Later, you will see diagrammatic form detailedly. I will show you the process, how it is going to work, right? So technically, that is the concept of how HTML works. So if anyone asks HTML, what HTML contains? So HTML is a collection of elements. Understood? HTML is a collection of elements arranged in a hierarchy. Called, what is the hierarchy called? DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. DOM stands for Document Object Model. So never say that HTML is a collection of tags, because that is a general definition from people who learned unprofessional HTML, that HTML is collection of tags. HTML is not collection of tags. HTML is collection of elements. And these elements arranged in a hierarchy called DOM. Actually, in browser, this all happens in browser. This much in-depth about browser not required earlier, but these days in interviews, lot of questions are asked related to that. That's the reason I will give here. Yeah. So this is actually the browser architecture. This is official browser architecture. No need to worry more about this as of now. Gradually, you will learn all these things. Browser usually have browser engine, rendering engine. Browser engine is responsible for translating everything, compiling everything, processing everything. Rendering is responsible for presenting the output. Final output is presented by rendering engine. Converting into tags, tokens, into elements, into DOM, everything is done by browser engine. Final output is presented by rendering engine. And whenever you are using, for example, suppose you are using Gmail. In Gmail, you entered username. After you entered username, next step, it will ask password. Sometimes they will ask username and password one below another. Sometimes they will ask first username, next. After entering username, it is asking password. When it is asking password, already you entered username previously. Where that stored? That username, where it stored? That is stored in the memory of browser. So that is called data persistence. Data persistence is a mechanism of storing the data temporarily required for you while using a website. When you are using website, like your username, passwords, and some other security tokens, all are maintained in browser memory. Storing the information which is required for browsing temporarily, that is called data persistence. Later, you will learn JavaScript interpreters and all, not required. As of now, user interface means UI. How that UI comes with the help of two engines, browser engine and rendering engine. Browser engine is responsible for converting everything into DOM, and rendering engine is responsible for painting the DOM. Whatever data is required for your application, means while using that website, that data will be stored persistent. Actually, data is stored in various locations. Data is stored in various locations. So later you will learn about how data is stored and all. While using a website, you need to store data and reuse it. For that, you need some memory to allocate. That is done by browser engine. And you see, this is the basic architecture. This is WebKit. WebKit is a browser engine. We have Gecko browser engine. Gecko is a browser engine. And you see, this is the actual rendering technique, HTML parsing. First step, what happens? You write some characters, markup, that is converted into bytes. Bytes are converted into characters. Characters are converted into tokens. Tokens are converted into nodes. Nodes are converted into DOM. This is the process. And when you look at the layout, this is how the layout actually works. This is how the layout works. That means the HTML converts into DOM. After DOM, rendering tree, then layout, then it is painted. The process, how it is going to work. So in depth about the architecture, you will learn later, not now. But this flow you need to understand to know that HTML is not collection of tags. HTML is collection of elements. Good. Elements are arranged in a hierarchy called DOM. And very important, HTML presents static DOM. HTML presents static DOM. That means HTML presents the DOM, but it is not responsive. It will not respond. So that means it is a static DOM. We call it as static DOM. For example, suppose we have here, so button called print. Suppose you see it designs a button here. You see there is a button called print. But when I click the button, it is not printing. That means HTML is just presentation. HTML is just presentation. It will not make it functional. To make it functional, we need combination of languages like JavaScript, jQuery. These languages are responsible for making static DOM into dynamic. That means JavaScript, jQuery, React, Angular, all such things. React, Angular, Vue, like this, etc. All these are going to, their responsibility is to convert the static DOM into dynamic DOM. That means if anybody asks what is the purpose of JavaScript? The purpose of JavaScript is to manipulate DOM. HTML presents the DOM and JavaScript makes it functional. That means HTML creates a button and JavaScript gives a functionality to that button. HTML presents DOM and JavaScript manipulates DOM. Not only JavaScript, jQuery, React, Angular. All these technologies are responsible for manipulating the DOM. HTML presents DOM. And JavaScript, jQuery, React, Angular, they convert the static DOM into dynamic DOM. Once it is dynamic DOM, then it starts responding. That means generally what we do by using JavaScript, we write here on click is equal to window.print. Some logic I am writing here. When I write some logic, now it becomes functional. It starts printing. But for that, we need to write all click. So we need to write all the logic here. Then it will perform that printing here. So JavaScript manipulates the DOM. JavaScript manipulating the DOM means not only converting static DOM into dynamic DOM. It can add elements, it can remove elements, it can modify data, it can do lot of things. So what is relation between HTML and JavaScript? HTML presents, JavaScript manipulates. HTML only presents and JavaScript manipulates. HTML is static DOM and JavaScript manipulates and converts into dynamic DOM. Static DOM is converted into dynamic DOM. So HTML is a collection of what? Elements. So you are learning HTML means you are learning how to design these elements. You have to learn HTML. That means learning HTML is all about learning the elements in HTML. Then you may ask a question like, so in my schools, in my colleges, I learned tag, what it is. Already we saw that. Before HTML element is generated, elements are converted into what? Elements are converted from tags. From tags, it comes into node. This node is called as an element. Nodes are elements. That means what is relation between tag and element that you have learned at school, college level, right? Tags are used for building an element. Elements are built by using tags. But HTML is not collection of tags. HTML is collection of elements. That means then if you have a question, then the point is tags are used to build element. Tags are used to build element. So at any point, browser don't know what is a tag. Browser finally knows only one thing, that is elements. Browser engine will translate those tags into elements. That is the reason you saw in the debugging, right click and go to inspect. Here you will never find any word called tag. Here what it is showing? It is showing all these under which category? Elements. There will be nothing like tag. Browser will never show you anything like tag. Anywhere in browser you will not find the word tag. You will never find the word tag. So because that is just only the word used by people to understand that elements are built from tags. But if officially it is not tag. Officially tags are tokens. Very good. They are tokens. Officially tags are tokens. The process of converting a tag into token, this is called a tag into element. Understood? A tag into element. This process is called as, it is known as tokenization. Tokenization is the process of converting a tag into elements. So HTML is all about learning about elements. So here one more point you should know. Types of elements in HTML. So finally you understood the point that HTML contains elements. And elements are presented in a hierarchy called DOM. But these elements are classified into 5 types. HTML elements are classified into 5 groups. We have normal elements, we have void elements, we have RC data elements, we have raw text elements, and we have foreign elements. Elements in HTML are classified into 5 groups. This is very important for everybody to understand. So what are normal elements? What are void elements? RC data elements, raw text elements, foreign elements. HTML elements are classified into 5 groups. We have normal, void, RC data, raw, and foreign. Let's see what they are. This is very important to understand, because once you are good in understanding this concept, it is easy to use elements in HTML. First, we will see what are normal elements. Actually, see, suppose I am typing some sentence here. Welcome to HTML. It is a markup language. Okay. Now here in this, I want to highlight the word HTML. I want to highlight the word HTML. Then I will make it as B. B makes it bold. Makes it bold. Now this B, this token B is to present bold element. But bold element is a normal element. Normal element means here, what is a normal element? First, normal elements are nothing but they return a presentation. They return a presentation directly on callback without using additional attributes. They return a presentation directly on callback without using additional attributes. We call these elements are normal elements. Normal elements means they directly return a presentation. They directly return a presentation without giving any additional attributes. For example, I have given B. I am not giving any additional attributes. Means only B. I am not giving any additional attributes, but directly it can present. Without any additional attributes, it returns some presentation. But problem is, it cannot end presentation. It cannot end presentation. That means it cannot stop presentation. It starts the presentation and it continues. It cannot end presentation. What you have to do is, you have to end presentation. You have to end presentation explicitly. Explicitly means externally, by using end tag. By using end tag. End tag is written like this, /B. End tag is written like this. Even today, people who are learning HTML, they have this point unclear. If you ask anybody that tell me why one element requires end tag, another element doesn't require end tag, he will have no answer. You ask anybody who says, I know HTML, simple point. Why some tags in HTML have end tag, some tags don't have end tag? You will not have answer from them, anybody. Nobody will answer you. You can answer if you know this concept. That means normal elements means, here bold is a normal element. How you say it is normal element? Because without giving any extra attributes, it can return something directly. And observe carefully, it starts returning bold from H. It starts returning bold and it returns continuously. It will not end. That means it is returning the presentation continuously. You have to end it. So to end it, we need an end tag. After HTML, I want to end. Then we need to put a /B. This ends it. That means it will end the HTML bold there. So why it is normal element? Normal elements will return a presentation. By default, they have some presentation. But unfortunately, they cannot stop the presentation. Then we have to stop it manually. If doesn't stop, is there any problem? No problem until or unless some other element need to come there. If some other element need to come there and this element is disturbing it, then problem will come. Until that moment, no problem. You can leave it. It up to end, it will apply. Then we have to end it manually. And how the elements are ended? By using an end tag. That means normal elements usually will have two tags. One is start tag. Start tag is defined like this, and end tag is defined like this, /b, like this. Later we are going to learn different elements. As of now, I am giving one example for that. So what is a normal element? Example for this normal element is this bold. Okay. Next, we have void elements. Void elements. So we have normal elements and we have void elements. So what are void elements actually? In computer terminology, void means no return type. Void means no return type. In computer technologies, void means no, not only computer. Void is an English word, general English word. Suppose you are talking to somebody and so you are talking to somebody and he is not responding to you. He is just listening but not responding to you. Then you can say that he is in void state. He is in void state because he is not responding anything. That means he is not returning from his side anything. He is in void state. That means a person is in void state. That means he is receiving something but not responding. That is general thing actually. Void elements means no return type. That means these elements will not return any presentation directly on callback. These elements will not return any presentation directly on callback. They require additional attributes. They require additional attributes. They require some extra attributes. And one important is they can return specified content and end implicitly. They can return what you asked to return. They will not return anything by default. But they will return what you asked to return. After returning, they will end implicitly. That means they will stop. So that is the reason they doesn't require which tag? End tag. They doesn't require end tag. They doesn't require end tag. Why they doesn't require end tag? They doesn't require end tag because they end implicitly. They end implicitly. Implicitly means internally. Internally they end. We don't need an end tag. So that means, for example, I will show you here one simple option. Here I am writing a simple element here. I am writing a simple element as img. Same like bold I written img. And you can see that refresh, it's not returning anything. It's not returning anything. That means img is not returning anything. It is not returning anything. Bold is returning, but img is not returning. Img can return by using additional attributes. I can ask what to return. Some public, some images, something like this. For example, in my project, I have some images. Later, you can understand how to keep images. Later, I will tell you. Don't worry. Just one image. I will copy here some image, some shoe. I will copy that here. Yeah, roughly I am using here. So shoe.jpg, width 100 and height 100. Like this I written. You see that now I asked it to return shoe. By default, it is not returning anything. I asked it to return shoe. After returning, it will stop. So that means you see, after returning that shoe, it stops. If it is not a void element, then it should repeat that shoe again and again. Until the end of page, that shoe is repeated. But it's not doing. It's presenting what you asked. After presenting, it stopped. If it stopped, then why I need an end tag? I don't need an end tag. I don't need an end tag. What happens if you write an end tag? Time waste will happen. Nothing error. Time waste will happen. Nothing will happen. That means browser is not going to take this end tag. That means even you write the end tag, you see in the browser here, inspect. When I inspect elements, in the elements in the body section, that end tag is not taken. I return the end tag, but it is not taking. It knows that it doesn't require an end tag. So it knows that it doesn't require an end tag. It will happen if I write. So you are wasting your time in writing the end tag. It's not an error. It will not say wrong. It will simply ignore it because it doesn't require it. So this is important. So what kind of elements doesn't need an end tag? Void elements. So void elements doesn't need an end tag. Why? Why void element doesn't require an end tag? Because void elements don't have any presentation directly. So they will present only what is requested. And after presenting the requested, they will stop implicitly. That is the reason they doesn't require an end tag. So these are void elements. Usually example is IMG. That is an void element. Later you will learn how to present images and all. Don't worry about what code I am writing. Just observe the concept as of now. Later we are going to learn all this, right? So normal elements, void elements. Another important is we have RC data elements. RC data elements. These are the container elements used to present. These are the container elements used to present plain text content. Plain text content. So rich content is not allowed. Rich content is not allowed. Only plain text content. Rich content is not allowed. What does that mean? You will see that. RC data elements will not allow rich contents. Rich contents. What does that mean? For example, you see here, I am writing here a P, that is a paragraph. In that we have welcome B. So welcome to HTML, like this. Now important is you are using a tag inside another tag. Means an element inside another element. Is it possible to use? Is it possible to use an element inside another element? Not every time. Not every time. If the parent element is an RC data element, it will not allow any another element inside. Paragraph is not an RC data element. If it is not an RC data element, it will allow. For example, you can see it is allowing, no problem. But suppose we have an element called text area. Text area. Text area is also used for displaying text, but it is RC data. means it will not allow any another element inside. That means you can see that it will not allow that bold inside it. It is also presenting text, but it will not allow bold, rich content not allowed. That means only plain text. So that is why we call these type of elements as RC data. RC data elements means these are containers which will not allow any rich content inside. So example for this is text area. It is the element which will not allow any another element inside. If you try to use any element you cannot use inside. It is only for plain text. So not for any another element inside. That's why we call RC data. Next, we have raw text elements. So raw text elements are nothing but, so these are the elements presented by using raw text instead of tokens. Instead of token means tags. These are the elements presented by using raw text instead of tokens. That means they don't have tags, or you say tokens. They don't have tags or tokens. Without tags and tokens, they are presented. They don't have any tags. Only raw text will present. For example, here, raw text elements are that. Here, I am writing here. So some sale. So 50% off. So that means I'm just giving here #8377 semicolon and some 20,000. Like this, I written some value. So here just I am defining something like this. Now you can see this is plain text. So #8377 semicolon is some raw text. And to this raw text, I am adding some ampersand. When I add ampersand to that raw text, I am not using any tag or tokens. And you can see it can present some symbol. So this is raw text element. You are not using a tag. You are not using a token, but you are presenting. That is the reason if anybody says HTML presents by using tags, here there is no tag. Here it is only raw text. So that means I am writing like suppose ampersand copy semicolon and copyright. Then if I don't use this ampersand, then it will be a raw text, general text. And I put an ampersand beside this raw text. Raw text elements are the elements that present without any tags. No tokens are required. So they don't require tags. Ampersand #8377 semicolon. This is for Indian rupee. We have like ampersand copy semicolon. This is for copyright, like that. So the raw text elements are presented by using, ampersand. They are presented by using ampersand. So many raw text elements you will see which are presented by using this ampersand. So we have 4 types of elements here: normal elements, void elements, RC data elements, raw text elements. Another important is foreign elements. But these you will learn later, not now. Foreign elements means actually these elements are not native to HTML, but but can be used in HTML. They are not native to HTML, but can be used in HTML. They require additional library. They require some extra library, additional library. So without library, without library, you cannot use in a page. So these type of elements are called foreign elements. Later you will learn. That means simple, I will tell you. Suppose you know some programming languages like C, C++ and all. You have printf, scanf like functions. So printf, scanf like functions in general C programming or something. They are defined in a header file called stdio.h. If this header file is not working, will these two work? That means some functions require some library. If that library is not there, they will not work. In HTML also, some work internally directly, but some will not work. They need some extra library. You have to import that library, then only browser can understand. Such HTML elements that need external library, those elements are called as foreign elements. Example for these foreign elements, we have like SVG, like Canvas, like MathML. All these comes under the category of foreign elements. Those require extra library. They cannot directly work. Later you will learn about those elements, how to use them and how do we work with them, right? These are the types of elements. HTML contains hundreds of elements, but all those elements are categorized into how many groups? 5 groups. Normal elements, void elements, RC data elements, raw text elements, foreign. While learning the element, you will learn which category it belongs to. That means now we will start learning elements. Now once we start learning elements, you will understand the category. That means, is it normal or void? You will able to tell by yourself once we start working with the elements. So now what we have to do, we have to learn how to use the elements. We have to learn how to design a web page by using all these elements. That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will do that, right? In tomorrow's session, we are going to start practically designing web page. We are going to learn one by one all the elements in HTML. How to design a web page, structure, step by step, we will start working with that. That we will see in tomorrow's session. And all these notes temporarily you will get from GitHub. So if anybody new, and these notes you will get from here. And you contact our admin. This is the location from where you will get the notes. You contact our admin will send you the previous videos, previous demo related videos, right? And tomorrow onwards, we will start practically working with this, step by step, practically how to handle. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue, right?